Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 3 of Soaps and Sass.
What up, what up?
I'm your host, or one of your hosts, Mama Sass.
And I'm Baby Sass.
We're happy to have you with us today as we talk about General Hospital and the events from Monday, January 13th to Friday, January 17th.
Indeed. This week, I think, was a bit, not as hot as last week, pun also not intended, but still very interesting in events with characters.
Indeed. So why don't we kick it off real quick with a recap and bring you guys up to speed in case you missed it. So consider it spoilers as well if you haven't seen it. But here's a very high level overview of what happened this week. So we continue with the storyline of the custody with Michael and Willow's children. Michael is still in the hospital. He's recovering from where Cyrus tried to kill him last week. They were successful in resuscitating him. I don't remember if that happened on Friday or Monday.
I had to pause for a second. I said, when did Cyrus try to kill this man? It's like, no, he did try to kill this man.
With the digitalis,
yes,
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I was like, Cyrus didn't plant the bomb. It's like,
no. Well, we don't know that he didn't.
We don't know that, but it's like, that's not what she means.
That's not what I mean. I'm talking about the digitalis in the IV.
Right, which I'm so happy they clued in.
Right?
Oh my God.
So that was good news. We had a showdown at the hospital. Possibly a few, but primarily
a few showdowns.
Primarily there was the one between Carly, Sunny, and Willow. I'm gonna cup it that way because we're gonna go into more detail on that one. The other main storyline we had this week was the investigation into the mysterious deaths, which ties into Michael being hit by the digitalis or nearly killed by the digitalis.
Poison.
So we have Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys who have decided to investigate. And by Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys, I do mean Elizabeth, Lucas, and Lucky have decided
Triple L threat.
Right? That's true. I didn't catch that. That's very clever. So they're trying to figure out who might have done it. I think they clue into Cyrus. They because Lucky, and I should have said that first, Lucky and Joss compared notes about Cyrus. Lucky, from his perspective, was concerned about Cyrus volunteering and how he had tried to take control of Lulu's care. And Joss got a tip from Jack Brennan last week, and she learned from Felicia that Cyrus had kind of disappeared right around the time that Dex was stabbed. So they're both on the trail of Cyrus, where Joss runs to Anna and gives her this information. Anna's looking at her like, little girl, we can't do anything with this, but brings Cyrus in for questioning anyway. Liz and Lucky go over to the grill where Cyrus was just before being pulled in for questioning, where they're hoping to get some information from him.
Right. And can I just quickly interject?
No.
People say this all the time in the show, that Joss is very much like her mother, and in that instance, I was like, you really are a hothead like your mama.
For real.
Oh my goodness.
We had, and in that story, in that investigation into the mysterious death, Portia suddenly does a 180, and she's asking Brad for help in the investigation to see if there's people who had heart attacks with certain conditions, and so Brad is all over that. We have the storyline of Brooklyn and Chase trying to have a baby. They've gone in for their fertility testing. Brooklyn still hasn't told Chase about having been pregnant before, but she did mention it to her doctor.
As I'm like, one should.
As one should, if you want to be sure.
Yep.
There does not appear to be any cause for concern, at least on Brooklyn's side, based on the information she provided the doctor. I don't believe we had gotten any results for Chase.
No,
just that he had done it and he was...
Yeah, there was no results for Chase, and in correlation to Brooklyn, physically all seems well. They just have to wait for some tests to come in.
Right. The hunt for Charlotte, minor storyline, so I'm going to kind of switch to storylines I don't care about. Maybe you do, Baby Sass. I don't know, but I certainly don't.
Not really.
Cody placed a bet on the game because he wants money to buy Serenity, and Shock and Surprise lost the money. Sorry?
So I was going to say, I'm just like, Cody, I love you, but a smart person doesn't bet everything.
For real. Thought it was a sure thing because the quarterback said, but it's sort of a game of chance. I do know people who will say there's no chance about it. All these games are rigged.
Right.
But either way.
The one thing I do appreciate about what Cody did was rather than saying, like, all in, they're gonna, like, PCU's gonna, like, score way ahead. He's like, I just have to be within 9 points. Right. There has to be a 9-point difference. As long as it's a 9-point difference, I win.
But unfortunately, in another story I don't care about, Kai got hurt, so that's why Cody lost all his money, because that spread did not pan out. But Selena Wu is back, and I always find her entertaining, so that was lovely to see. I
am curious to see how that's gonna, affect Brad, because Brad's like, I'm done. I don't want to be involved with her anymore. I'm trying to live the straight and narrow, to a degree, with his shady dealings at the hospital, right? Which aren't all that shady. Just little blackmail here, little. Gotta see if I can get back in with my former husband's good graces.
Right. And I must admit, I'm starting to warm up to Lucas a little bit. I wasn't sure about the
Lucas?
actor.
Yeah.
I like the old one.
I agree.
But this one seems to be okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I agree. I was also very hesitant when they brought in this Lucas, because I was like, who are you? I don't know this man. As Keke Palmer said, sorry to that man. But, no, as the episodes have gone on that he's been in, I'm really liking this Lucas.
Yeah, me too. And I think what I appreciate about the actor, and sorry, this is a little bit of a rabbit hole, is he's not traditionally handsome or traditionally soap opera handsome, and I appreciate that. He looks like people I see every day, which is something I like about British television. Is they have all shapes and sizes, all different looks of folks. It's not the chiseled jaw and all this kind of thing that we tend to see on soap operas. So thank you, Lucas, for bringing some normalcy, or to the actor that plays Lucas, really. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but other story I don't care about was the hunt for Charlotte.
You did mention that one.
Very briefly, and also Lulu looking for a job at Deception. Where she would actually be working under Brooklyn if she gets hired. That was a surprise.
That was funny. That was a bit of a surprise, because when she came in, even I'm like, I'm still on this just as a whole. It's like, why is everyone always in Maxie's office? I was like, y'all don't have your own office that you can't be in? What a friends? Why are we always at Maxie's office? But the fact that Brooklyn's like, no, we're conducting interviews, so it makes sense she's in her office, is like, okay, fair enough. And then Lulu shows up, and it's like, Lulu, call your girl. Why are you at her office? She's clearly not here. And it's like, I'm here for an interview. I said, oh, no.
Well, and I caught that right away because she was wearing these pretty shoes.
I noticed the shoes,
I didn't quite catch the slacks, but I did see the shoes, and then it was, I did
catch the outfit, and then more of the shoes at the end when it kind of switched over to the credits. But I'm still like, why?
Exactly. So whatever, she gets hired. I'm sure that's pretty much what's going to happen. I'm not even going to bother to put that in predictions, because
for sure,
where else is she going to go?
In a case, I do consider this not necessarily Nepo baby, just because it's like she's like, it's really Maxie who's hiring her, but it's still kind of like Brooklyn's grandma owns the company. Right. And she is Tracy's stepdaughter, and they have a close bond. So technically, it's a little bit of nepotism, because I think Tracy would have hired her anyway.
Possibly. And that was the other thing that happened in the hunt for Charlotte. Lulu went to Tracy asking for money, which is, I guess, what led to her looking for a job.
Yeah.
Asked Tracy for money to help find Charlotte, and Tracy was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. Come up with a plan, and then we can go." Where Lulu was like, "Give me the money, and then we'll go." And Tracy was like, "No."
So, yeah, because I'm like...
Which makes sense,
Tracy's,
obviously.
Like, while Tracy can be a bit of a witch, she does care about her family, and she's very smart, and she's like, Lulu, I love you. However, don't be a dum-dum.
Right.
Stop thinking with your heart and your emotions and think with your head.
Agreed.
Which is what everybody's trying to tell her.
Right. Okay, and just wrapping up the recap, there are two other stories that I didn't care about. Jens showed up at the gallery to, I guess, I'm trying to think of the word in English. I don't remember what it is, but courtoyer. I guess solicit maybe Ava, and that's not the right word, but in any case, I think he had an idea who Ava was already.
Yeah, I think you mean like get a sense, or just like, kind of.
Yeah, he's got some kind of a plan. I'm quite certain he knew who Ava was when he went there.
For sure.
But he went under the guise of buying art for Windermere, and so now they're gonna meet up afterwards so she can show him where to place the art.
I will say though, Rick is shady for that one.
Right. Highly entertained because Rick was at the gallery when Jens got there because Ava wanted. To me, it took long, but the story's got to play out over the week. But it occurred to Ava after bonding with Lucas a little bit more, which was also nice to see, that hey, this would be the best time to go for custody of Avery, which I think we talked about last week. Like if Ava has any sense. So this happened on Friday. So she called Rick to talk about custody of Avery when Jen showed up. Rick told her it was a bad idea, notwithstanding she can't afford his bill because she doesn't have access to funds very easily.
Or not even that, she just doesn't have enough of the funds.
Well, I don't think they're liquid because, as we've already established, Ava was rich in her own right long before she met up with Nicholas.
Fair enough.
So, but yeah, the money that she does have is tied up in property, and I just think it might be harder to liquidate some of her other assets. That's an opinion, not anything that was said. But you were just saying Rick is shady for
taking the check that was not written to him, but to the gallery.
Yes, again with the weird legalese in the U.S. and soap opera land.
It's like with the France. It's like my girl holding the check, being like, "I just made a sale," and then her lawyer be like, "Snatch, thank you.
You owe me."
It's like, this is covering my fees that you have not paid me. It's like, you can't do that. The check wasn't made out to you. The check is
it's not endorsed to you.
It's not endorsed to you. The money has to go to, like, she has to pay the artist because, she just sold this artist painting. So she has to pay the artist because the artist is like, here, try and sell this painting or whatever.
We think you're too logical. This is too real world and soap opera.
Either way. Man can't take that money.
And at a minimum, you don't know who Jens is. I would think you'd want to make sure the check clears before you call in for it.
Right?
I mean...
Because also, here's the thing, Rick. You stayed at the gallery when Jen showed up and I saw the look on his face. It's like he was eyeing that man hard with a skeptical look on his face.
Skeptical look, but I think he wanted to make sure that he got paid, which is
fine. But it's like, it was more than that.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, maybe he's eyeing him as a potential client for himself.
Possibly, but it's like, you really want to get into shady business with this man?
But he don't know about no shady business because they don't know who Jens is.
So look him up.
So there you go. And then the last bit of story I don't care about was a little bit of Emma, who showed up at the Brown Dog during Kai's football game.
And even then, her appearance was so short-lived.
It was very short-lived. But, we did get a little bit of insight into Emma, who apparently has petty theft as a hobby. Who is this young woman? This is not the Emma we remember. My other daughter talks about retconning, retroactive. I can't remember. But anyways, revisionist history is how I know it.
Basically.
What is going on? That would probably go under who called for this? So I'm not even interested to see where this goes. I'm really not.
No, the only thing I can really say on that is, for sure, based off of the interaction she had with Gio, which she said something else when she said, he's like, my name is Gio, and she's like, what is that short for?
Oh, the letters G-O, is that initials?
Right, and he's like, no, it's short for Giovanni, which, But either way, it's very clear that aside from, the whole petty theft thing, he's very into Emma. He's got a little crush on Emma. That is very clear.
I hope not, because he seemed very sensible in every other way. So that's basically the high-level recap for the week, but let's get into some nitpicky details. Because,
also, quick storyline that probably also doesn't matter, I don't know, is Alexis, because Alexis had been in 2 episodes this week. Right,
and that's going to come up into the getting into it, because it's actually a storyline I do care about.
Fair enough.
But it ties into, more of the custody for the kids, because I think we'll break down the episode or the week, and also just dive right into what had me hot, because that will lead us into the details.
All right.
So what had me hot in the storyline this week with the custody of the children? And they summarized it, or Willow did summarize it at the very end of the week on Friday, where she said, I don't know how we got here. Well, Miss Willow, let me tell you how we got here. All week, people are speaking for other people, talking and don't know what they're talking about. Willow's upset. She wants to see her children. All of a sudden, Drew comes from who the ass nowhere, talking about, oh, well, you have Michael's proxy, which we still don't know how he knew, and therefore you should leverage that and keep Sunny and Carly away from Michael until you get the kids back. Shabaki? Pardon me? So when they're all in the hospital and Portia and Gannon come to give news about Michael, Willow says, nobody's making decisions but me. And I think that's the last thing she said until Friday. But I exaggerate just a smidge.
No, that's pretty much it.
At which point, Drew jumps in talking about she has the proxy. You have no rights to the kids. Until you give her back the kids, you can't see Michael. Willow standing there, just taking it all in. I can't even say she looked dumbstruck. I can't say that she necessarily looked angry. She was just listening with a scowl on her face, I suppose. Right? Clearly determined. She looked determined. Then you have, later in the week, Tracy at the other end, because Nina spoke to Sunny and said, listen, Sunny, because she could see this was going to get hot because Carly started losing her temper.
And she also knew this was not the right way to go about it.
100% it's not the right way to go about it. Who does this? But made for great watching, I must say. Must-see TV once again. So Nina and Sunny go off in the corner. They're talking about it. Nina prevails on Sunny's good sense. Sunny comes back and says, yep, Willow can take the kids. They go to get the kids, or actually Willow went to get her kids herself. Then Sasha comes in from nowhere when she hears from the nanny that Willow's there to pick up the kids. Sasha flies in from nowhere talking about, you're not going anywhere with the kids. And it's like, what? Who is you? Who gave you call to speak? I don't understand.
Which I think was a very interesting conversation. But again, as I've stated before in the last 2 episodes, people coming in with these low blows, man.
Listen, it was nice to see the jabs, the swipes.
Because, so Sasha, Willow having their disagreement about, taking the kids, can't take the kids, yada, yada, yada. And then Willow makes a comment about how Sasha would know, like, essentially what's best for kids if she were a mom, but doesn't actively say the words if she were a mom.
Right.
And Sasha finishes the sentence because she's like, no, I know where you're going with that. And I was just like, Willow, I'm like, as far as I'm aware, you know what happened with Sasha and her and
yes,
Liam.
She does.
Exactly. So I'm just like, wow.
Right?
I get hurt people, but I'm like, both of you know the pain of losing a kid. So even I'm like, that's a level I didn't think Willow would go.
But to be fair, she didn't really. She started and caught herself.
Right.
She was just like, that is too far.
Which I recognize, and I'm glad she caught herself. But even just going in that direction,
but the bell was tapped. The bell was tapped.
Exactly, and it's just like, oh my goodness, it falls in line with Molly and Christina as well because it's like and I'll just and it just makes me think, I'm like, regardless of the fact whether a woman is able to raise the child or not, whether, it's like, overall, it's like, once a woman is pregnant, she's a mom. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She's automatically a mom. Again, whether she gets a chance to raise the child or not, whatever the circumstances may be, she's a mom. Right. And it sucks because Sasha was only a mom for a very short period of time, but she was a mom no less. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, Absolutely. And it's like the same thing falls in line with Molly and Christina. It's like Molly did not have the chance to be a mom to baby Irene, and even though she wasn't the one to carry.
Do you mean Adela?
Don't do that. Don't ever do that again. You know how I feel about that.
I know. I'm with you. I totally feel with you. I'm with you. I just wanted to, just throw that out there. But yes, as far as I'm concerned, the child's name is Irene as well.
Anyway, before I was
sorry.
Yeah, but it's like, even though Molly didn't get to carry Irene or whatever, she still loved her like a mom. The point was for her to be a mom to Irene. And so, women have these different circumstances, but either way, when circumstances come about for someone to be a mom and they're ready to take that step, for me, they're a mom. It doesn't matter if it's biological, if it's adoption, it does not matter. You are a mom through and through. And so just Willow kind of, she recognized her slip trip and she caught herself, but
yes. So that's it. So we had Sasha in there, then we had Tracy in there talking about these kids are not going anywhere and calling Monica's name, like she's the president or I don't know what. But anyways, it just made me really angry. And that is how, Willow, you ended up in the situation you ended up in because you did not speak for yourself. You allowed everybody else to speak, or people felt they could speak for others. Because Tracy's speaking for Monica, she's speaking for Michael, Sasha's speaking for Michael, Drew is speaking for Willow,
Nina,
Martin to some extent is speaking for Willow, which is a whole, and that was the legal question you were asking me about earlier, is how is Martin, who is supposed to be representing Willow, up to this moment, I don't think he has had any instruction whatever from Willow.
Nope.
He had instruction from Nina.
Yep.
And then at the end of Friday's episode, we see he took instruction from Drew.
Yep.
So Tracy, for all her interference, which I think makes sense, ended up getting locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Or arrested. She ain't locked up yet, but she got arrested. And yes, well, if you're going to insert yourself in people's business, you take what you take.
Mm.
Right?
But also I find it interesting how when Carly was like, talking to Diana, and was like, you know what, in the end, get the kids, yada yada.
Talking to Diane.
Mm-hmm. I'm very, very surprised. And while I do recognize, be with like the other kids and whatnot, I'm still very surprised that Carly had them taken back to the Quartermains. Because I get that's where they live, it's what they're used to and everything. But I'm surprised she had them taken back there rather than to her house.
Well, who's at her house? Because she's at the hospital.
Right.
Joss don't live there.
No, fair, but someone has to be there because it's like where Donna and Avery, because they're not at Sunny's,
right?
They're also probably not at the Quartermains, so it's
exactly.
So it's kind of like while I understand why they're at the Quartermains, it's also like, but you're the one who said to take the kids, so I personally am just confused as to why you would have them go back there when you're the one who's like, get the kids. Because I'm like, it's not like you don't have people you can't call to be like, hey, can you watch Wiley and Amelia for however extended period of time? Because I'm like, you can ask Christina, because Christina's their aunt, and it's like, while she's dealing with Charlie's, she's not really working. I'm like, you have Joss again, she's in school, but also with the whole deck situation, yada yada. What's she doing?
Okay, well, if we want to go real world,
so it's just,
which I tend to avoid, but logically, you want to inconvenience the least amount of people, and as a mother, you want to disrupt the children's lives as little as possible. They are accustomed to living at the Q's. They are familiar with the environment. There's a nanny there that they are accustomed to. They have their own nanny. She's still over there. And as you said, there's a bunch of children. Right,
which, like I said, while I understand why they're there, which, as you stated, all those reasons, it's still kind of like, but you asked.
Yeah, you asked for them, but you're not inconveniencing anybody, right? So I'll pay the bill of the nanny they already have. I'm not going to pay extra for my nanny, who's only responsible for 2 children, at best. I'm not going to give her 4.
Mm.
And then, you have the people at the Quartermains, like I said, and you've got the additional kids, which will help with minding the children, and they're in their stuff.
Mm.
We don't really hear of Wiley and Amelia being over at Carly's. They go to visit, but then they don't have their own room there or anything like that, which they do at the Q's.
Fair enough.
Right? Also, with respect to this custody with the kids, the one thing that I just did not understand, so branching off ever so slightly into my unofficial segment, Make It Make Sense. Tracy had Cody install cameras at the Q's.
Yes, they were
to prevent what? For security from what? Willow lives there. Willow didn't get kicked out. So what, you keeping Willow from coming on the property to her home?
There's that.
Which didn't work because Willow went to her home and collected her children. So what benefit was it for having the security cameras then? She still got onto the property. So that just struck me as odd.
Right.
What are you doing? Drew came in at the end of the week with the cops and Martin. The security camera did not stop you from getting them on the property. But Stella, okay, we can read some things into this now. I'm not gonna.
Well,
but we can start reading some things into
no,
this.
I don't
because Stella had to wait at the gate before Tracy let her in. How everybody else get in? How did everybody else? But the one person of color get stopped at the gate. Now I know that's really taking things too far, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Might want to rethink that next time, writers. Just struck me as odd. That's all I'm saying. You were gonna interject. Oh, you got flabbergasted?
Right.
Your gas got flabbered?
Right.
Because make it make sense.
I was like, what
it
was
don't make sense.
Right. And then Selena. How the it's like
Selena got no, but Selena came accompanied by Gio.
Even still, it's like it's regardless of being accompanied by Gio, which also I love how she leaves and it's like, young man, tell me more about this violin. Like, if she trying to get in with Gio, it's like,
listen, why not? She has these soirees. She might want a violinist, and it won't mean anything dangerous for Gio. Who can say? But she also was accompanied. I would point out another person of color, but whatever. I'm gonna let that slide. But she was accompanied. So that's where we are there. Anything else that had you hot before I pick up my other piece that really made me hot?
Let's see. As I just go through my own notes.
Okay. Well, so that we don't have too much dead air, if you want to read that, and I'll jump into my other thing that made me hot and might bring something for you. The other thing that had me hot is Drew trying to assume the role of Teflon Don, which is what we usually see with Sunny. Nothing sticks to Sunny. But
Sorry. No, sorry, it threw me off because there's an artist whose name is Stefflon Don, but her name is Stephanie London, so she just cut it. So when you said that, I said, what does Drew have to do with this artist? Like, whoa.
No, Teflon Don, which is how I refer to Sunny, who I still don't like. Jordan is speaking to Drew.
Yes.
Alexis is speaking to Drew this week. And they're saying, Drew, the choices you are making are not wise.
Yes.
And in both cases, Drew says something like, yeah, I'm making bad choices and I don't care. But really, how is it any different than anybody else in my family?
Right.
How are you not assuming responsibility for what you did?
That did have me hot in both situations where he's talking to Jordan and Alexis.
Exactly. Right?
I'm like, so many things Drew has been doing has me hot. But
okay,
man just keeps digging his grave. He keeps putting his foot in his mouth, and I want to just
seriously.
What's the word?
Let me not say that, but
no, it's like I want to drop kick that foot just further into his mouth.
Oh well, I know that's gonna help.
No, but at least it'll be like snap back.
Okay, well at least it went to his mouth because my foot would have gone somewhere else. Oh. You know, Hamilton possible reference, but anyway, and I wouldn't say it like that. But the thing of it is, Jordan is telling Drew, don't make a scene. You're a senator. Behave yourself. Act like you have some sense. And Drew's response is, oh, I guess you spoke to Curtis. Regardless, she didn't need to speak to Curtis. You've been all over the newspaper with Willow. She knows that Willow is married to Michael. That's not a surprise. It's not a secret. Why can't she just be outraged at your outrageous behavior, Drew? But no, what I did is no different. The Quartermains are always sleeping around and cheating on each other and stealing from one another.
And as I said to you, but they ain't sleeping within the family.
Exactly. They're not sleeping with one another's wives and husbands. That's just not happening.
And on top
Except
of that,
for Monica, who made a mistake because she genuinely didn't know.
No.
You knew who this woman was,
right?
Drew.
And as I said, it's not like, and I recognize that the Quartermains are a relatively big family and we don't see a decent chunk of this family. And also granted that as far as I'm aware, there's only 2 grandsons in this family, which would be Michael and Danny. I
believe there are more.
But again,
we don't see them.
Exactly.
Right. I think Justice has children.
Right. But overall, the ones we do see, there's only 2 grandsons, Michael, Danny, and Michael is the favorite. So not only did you, sleep with someone, you slept with someone in the family, but you slept with the favorite grandson's wife. That's the problem.
Absolutely.
It's like out of everyone you could have slept with in this entire world.
Well,
within this family.
We sure know he wasn't going to make it into Olivia's bed. So
No.
that's out. Brooklyn ain't looking at him twice.
No, and if you did, Chase would have gotten his gun. He would have gladly gone to jail for that.
You know, Lois?
Brooklyn would have clawed your eyes out.
I mean, who? Brooklyn? Oh.
Brooklyn would have clawed your eyes out.
Indeed.
And
Olivia, I'm just saying.
I'm like, Brooklyn, Olivia, Lois herself probably would have. Like, just, ugh.
You know, Sasha held no appeal for you because, you know, she could cook. But whatever. And Drew is spinning this whole... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, because the best way to a man's heart is to his stomach?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
And Drew is spinning this whole fairy tale about Willow is so good for Scout. Willow's good for her children, too.
Right?
She's good for her own children. She don't need to take on yours.
And the thing is, it's like, when he's talking to Alexis, he's like, but you know, Scout and Willow have such a bond. It's like, yeah, they do. They're family. But her mother just died. She's not... It's like, you're acting like Willow's going to replace Sam in Scout's life, which is not... One, you don't know if that's what Scout wants. I highly doubt that's what Scout wants. And also, I highly doubt Willow would ever do that to Scout and Sam. Like...
Make it make sense? Yeah.
Yes, but also I'm like, sir, do we need to send you back to Pentonville and have you get beat up again to knock whatever came loose back into place? Because what the France?
It does not make sense. I do not understand what is happening in this man's head. And you know what? Maybe they'll come up with another tumor story. And they'll reset.
No, you know what? No, because if they do, and I'm like, I'm so sorry to say this, especially to poor Oscar, but I'm like, take him out. If you give this man a tumor, take him out.
No, I'm not talking about a tumor in the sense of Oscar had a tumor, although, sure, we could go that route. I've forgotten about Oscar. I was more talking about he has a tumor in the sense of Heather Weber and Franco, how they had tumors that were making them do offside things, because Oscar never did offside things.
No, he didn't. And I'm also very sorry about the volume. But
this is what I'm saying.
No.
But what could be interesting.
No, don't give him the tumor. Don't give him the excuse that a tumor is doing it for redemption. Don't do it. I don't want it. Don't.
Fix your face.
No, I'm sick. I'm sick. Oh, no, I'm sick.
Here's the other side they could go. If they want to redeem his character.
I don't want them to.
I don't want them to redeem them either. I want the story to be set up. Who shot the senator? Who killed the senator? Bring that for February sweeps. But again, I don't care for Cameron Matheson. I don't care for Drew. I'm happy for them to exit stage left. But the other way they could go is he had his mind messed with, right? Helena had reprogrammed him, as did Faison, so he thought he was Jason for any number of years. So that could maybe have shaken up how his brain functions.
Also, wasn't there that, or did that fall
with the programming with Peter August?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say more Helena, whatever, with the tarot card, but
yes, all of that goes together. So they could try and spin that, since they're doing all kind of revisionist history. I don't know, and that wouldn't be too much of revisionist. It would be in line with what was already there.
Fair.
I don't know, but I don't know what they're setting up for February. But okay. So those are the main things that had me hot.
Right.
I don't know that there was anything else really.
No, that's fair. This didn't have me hot. It was more of a damn. It was more of how everybody's getting sent over to the Quartermaines, or everybody's going over to the Quartermaines to appeal to Tracy and let the kids go, which I think is just like hilarious, because I'm like, she ain't hilarious. The matriarch yet.
It is hilarious,
but I find it funny because it's like Sunny goes, she's like, no. Jason throws up, Tracy, please,
that was surprising.
And then Tracy's like, Jason, your father loved you, but you broke his heart. Your mother loves you, but you broke her heart. Or not even broke her heart, but it's like, don't take away the last piece she has, as she's in this fragile state. Now with Michael in the hospital, her health is dwindling. Don't do this to your mother. And Jason, stone cold Jason Morgan, eyes like glass. I said, Jason, she's tugging at the heartstrings. She's tugging at the heartstrings, because the man looked at Sonny and said, I can't do it. I said, Jason.
I couldn't believe it. That's the first time we have ever seen Jason go against Sunny and Carly. And
thing is,
stunned.
I
loved it, but I was stunned.
Right? No, because I was cheering. I said, yes, betray this man. Nobody likes this man after what this man did to you. Yes, betray him. Carly on their hand, I'm like, oh, damn.
Right?
You basically said no to Carly.
This is it. There's nothing that Jason won't do for Carly. And today,
he said no.
Tracy was like, family. And he was like, family.
It's like,
family.
Right. And it's like, also, she's like, you are, and I think she even pulled the quartermain card is like, I don't like you. I've never liked you, especially after what happened. But, you've really shown yourself to be a quartermain. Drew is not a quartermain, but you are a quartermain. Don't do it, Jason. That was something.
I forgot about that. I have it written down, but I forgot about it. I'm like,
what is this character development? What is this character development they're giving Jason? And though you did say, damn, that's some manipulation.
I did.
Because it really was. It really was some manipulation.
It was, but I loved that. I loved that he went for it.
He did.
I was like, all right. So Tracy prevails. Jason said no. That was okay. Sunny had another heart episode as he left.
Right.
But again, it's a difficult situation, so it was interesting that Sunny didn't lose his temper with Tracy. And Tracy gave Jason a hug, and Jason accepted it. By the way, that was funny.
He was a little like
taken aback, but he's still like
yeah. And then, but still in line with the everyone just coming at Tracy. Like next line for oh my goodness, I was gonna say Ava, not Ava. Carly coming in and being like, Tracy, let these kids go, and she's like. No. If you want to see them, though, they're upstairs.
Does it make you think of Moses going to Pharaoh?
Basically.
Let my people go.
Basically.
But Pharaoh heart is...
Basically.
Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, it was like... She's like, Tracy, yada, 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 yada. She's like, ever since you came to this town, you have caused nothing but strife to this family, especially to Monica. And she's like, I have never done anything to Monica. Really? Because AJ's dead. And she's like... Ooh, you ain't wrong.
Absolutely.
It's like her son is now a thug. It's like, So, what you gonna say? It's like, fine. But I'm gonna go see my kids. It's like, no, they have studying to do. Then they have enrichment. And she just laughed. I was like, but how is studying and homework and enrichment gonna stop you from saying hi to your grandkids?
I don't know. I was confused. That seemed odd. But what I thought was really interesting in that conversation between Carly and Tracy, and I see this all the time on my job, and it drives me nuts. Monica said, Monica, and Carly's like, you know what? I'm gonna go talk to Monica myself, right? Because at work we will often get, you have to do this because whatever vice president, senior, whoever, whatever, they ask for it. In the meantime, they have no idea.
Right?
They have no idea. And so I was like, yeah, go Carly, go talk to Monica. Absolutely, you should.
And then you can try, but you're standing at that door like a brick wall. It's like...
but Carly tucked her tail and left. I was like, Carly has to be processing some real stuff if she's going to tuck her tail and turn around and go somewhere. So that was interesting.
Right. And there's more about Tracy, but I'll come back to that because that ties in more with Willow, though.
Right. Well, then Chase showed up.
Right, which was going to
say... Was the next person talking, but you want to hold that one for now?
Sort of, because I did want to go with, like, how Willow, she finally took a second, like, she finally went to go see Michael, and she was, like, really upset. And then Nina shows up, and she's like, we need to talk, but we won't talk until you've taken a second, you've hydrated, all that. And Willow's just like... I would say kind of sort of releasing her fury because she's like, I don't have my kids. My husband is lying in his hospital bed. It's like left, right, center, all this confusion, kamesh, just everything. And Nina's like, calm down. Take a breath. Look, it's not their fault that Tracy is not letting the kids go. Like, they tried, but
Right, because Willow had revoked the access to Michael
exactly.
Again.
So she's
after
like
having granted it.
Exactly. Yeah. So she's just like very upset, and Nina's just like, Willow, you are fighting this battle, and it's not helping anybody. It's causing you pain because you want to see your kids. It's causing Carly and Sunny pain because they want to see their son. But both of you are at a heads because you won't let that happen until you have your kids and yada, 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 and whatever. But it's not helping anybody. It's just hurting people, and you need to lay down your weapons. And Willow was like, screw that. I want my kids. And then Nina's like,
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to do. So
this is not how you behave. This is not how you treat people.
No, and so I'm glad that Chase came in, and I was a little worried. But what Chase had to say, I really liked, and I was like, okay, please let this be the voice of reason, because Nina's not working. Drew is not helping. If anything, he's making it worse.
Oh my goodness.
Carly is trying to, break through the fog, but that's not working either. Like, nothing is going. So it's like, I like that Chase came in.
Right.
And was like...
just before you continue, to your point, like, Carly was making headway with Willow at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
She was talking to Willow, and then Drew started... in her ear, and she's like, I'm not talking to you.
This happened. No, it did happen this week. But I was gonna say, because I did write it down that Willow hugged the wrong one. But I like how Carly and Willow, at first when they were like, I have the proxy, so you talk to me, how Carly's like, Willow, please don't do this. And she's like, Drew is spouting stuff in your head. It's not, And then... And he leaves for like 2 seconds, but he's not even leave.
He was just not right there. Is all he was.
It's not like he went upstairs to check on Michael for 5 minutes and then came back down. Man was off in a bush, which was like 3 feet away.
He really was. Right. It's and like then, you just step to the side, and then but you're still within earshot.
Right. And then not 2 seconds later, Carly, you need to back off and let Willow make the decision. It's like, sir.
Exactly.
No one asked you anything. No one. So. So, right. So there was that. And so I like how Chase came in and she's like, I could really use a friend. And he's like, you got one. And I like how he just sat and listened. And she's like, I feel... And she brought up what Jocelyn said, which is also funny because it's technically what Michael said, but none of them know this.
Right.
But
which is odd, but okay.
But I like how she's like, I recognize that I tend to go towards saviors, or I feel this need to be rescued, and Chase is like, no, and even I kind of was sat back a bit. It's like, what do you mean no? Explain, Chase. I want to see where you're coming from because I don't understand what you're saying. And he's like, no, I don't think you need to be rescued. I think you're looking for something. I think you're searching for a piece of yourself that you've been missing, because it's like, I think you're looking for family. You're looking for a place to belong. You thought you had that at Dawn of Day. You thought you had that with Shiloh. You thought you had that with me. You thought you had it with Michael. Heck, you might technically still have it with Michael. But it's like, and I'm not even gonna go with Drew because I don't even know if he said anything about Drew. And if he did, I don't really care. But the point is, he's like,
that Drew saved her life literally. Right.
Right. So it's like, what you're looking for is you. It's like, you created that family that you wanted. You have Wiley and Amelia, and even though you lost, I'm forgetting her firstborn.
Jonah.
It's like, yeah, it's like you lost Jonah, but you have your 2 kids now. You have that family that you want. You are that family that you were looking for. It's like also you have your mother, but it's like, it's not the same.
Right.
Because also with the fact that I feel for Willow, the whole identity thing also came late, like, and because of now finding out that also Harmony wasn't her birth mom,
right?
So I think with the Dawn of Day and everything on top of that, plus the Harmony and finding out Nina is her mom, and she's like, oh my god, that also means Nell was my sister and all of this. I think the identity thing just kind of is now just hitting her harder than it would have if she had found out like when she was a kid or whatever.
Right.
Since depending on when you tell your kids that they're adopted or whatever, they go through that identity crisis for a brief period. So I think for Willow, she's having that now.
Yes.
So Chase giving his 2 cents and his advice is just like, you're looking for this, but you have it. You made it. You are it. And so that, I think, really helped Willow just be like, right, I don't need all these other people in my ear. I can speak for myself. I am my own person.
I can speak for my own family.
Right. It's like, I need to do what is best for me, my kids, my husband, and I'm not going to let anyone else influence me in my decisions. And then I was like, oh, hallelujah. I'm like, Chase, the voice of actual reason.
Yeah, he did great. And then...
And this is also why I like Chase with Brooklyn, because, you know, level-headed.
Absolutely. Balances very well. And then he went and spoke to Tracy.
Right.
And made some great arguments.
I wasn't ready for that. My man just busted into the house. Tracy, you need to let those kids go. And Tracy's also like, not you too. She's standing there with her usual face, and she just like, in her head, you can tell she just like, not you too.
But he made some real arguments. He didn't come at her. Mm-mm. He had a conversation with her.
He did. I also do like how he was getting ready to leave, and Tracy's like, I hold you and your family in the highest regard. However, and he's like, I know what you're thinking. And she's like, oh, what am I thinking? And tells her exactly what she's thinking. And I'm like, I was wondering how accurate you were going to be on that one. But damn, pretty accurate.
I thought it was funny because, you know, again, you get pulled out of the action sometimes into reality. And, you know, pan to deception where Brooklyn's like, I got to go have a conversation with my husband. But your husband's in the middle of a conversation with Tracy. When did he have time to text you to tell you, get over here? Because then Brooklyn showed up and was like, why are you fighting with my husband? What's wrong with you? That was really funny.
I love it. I was expecting Tracy to be like, something's like, I don't know how to explain it, but just like, really? You have to call your wife in to fight this battle too?
Seriously.
I don't know. I was expecting something along those lines. But I do find it very interesting, but this also quite annoying and frustrating how Brooklyn, Lulu having a conversation. And again, I do agree. It's like, it was in the past. Let it go, Lulu. And it's just like, you can be mad. There's nothing wrong with that. But stop bringing it up because you're never going to move forward. But
well, that's just the thing about arguments. And certainly I learned that as I was married and through some counseling, is when you're having an argument, have an argument about what the real issue is.
Right.
Not about the situation.
No, exactly. Which is why I'm just like, when Maxie was like, no, what's really going on? Because Lulu's like, oh, I find it's like she's like the quartermain, so she's got all the trust fund and yada yada yada. And it's like, and I looked at the TV and I looked at Lulu and I said, bull. I'm like, that is straight bull. There is so much more to that. And then she's like, okay, it's about Charlotte. And even then I was like, that's bull.
It's not. No. The fact of the matter.
It's bull in the sense of like, that's not, like, yes, you're worried, but that's not the reason you're picking fights with Brooklyn. That's not the reason you're mad, because
no, it's not.
Which is again why I call bull, because I'm like, yes, you're dealing with a whole set of things with your own children, with your own family. That is fine, but your issues with Brooklyn has nothing to do, like, it's a whole other thing, but you're not getting to the crux of the matter. Because you just keep bringing up, it's like, you tried to steal Dante from me. That's not the issue. No. There's so much more. And the fact that you're not talking about it or not saying what it actually is bull. And when people call you out on it and they're just like, oh, what's really going on? You can say something else as a way to slip, trip, divert, and distract. It's right. Like...
And that's the thing, right? Because if I remember correctly, and I could be remembering wrong, I believe that Lulu and Brooklyn were friends at the time when Brooklyn went after Dante that Lulu's referring to. And so what Lulu's issue in that case would be is she feels betrayed by her friend. And that's never been addressed. It's not that. It's how could we be friends and you betray me like that?
Right. Which I can understand. But as you said, it's not been addressed. It's like, if you don't talk about it, it can't be fixed. So I'm just like, stop bringing it up if you don't want to fix it. Yeah. It's like, if you just want to stew in your anger and frustration and your hurt, that is fine. But... and you don't want to if you don't actually want to fix the issue, it's not gonna do anything.
If you don't want to be friends with BKL, then don't be friends and move on.
Exactly.
Just
BLQ?
shut up.
BLQ? Because you said BKL. I was like, but I also get what you mean. But there was an actual point.
I put BKL for Brooklyn.
Oh, there was an actual point I was trying to make aside from the hashing it out, but it was also just like when they're talking and then Maxie comes in, which I was also thinking was funny. I was just like, what now?
That seems to be Maxie's role these days. She walks into a room at deception, somebody quarreling with somebody.
Right. But it was more in the sense of, it's like they're talking, and then Brooklyn's phone goes off, so she checks the phone, and Lulu's like, oh yeah, now we'll just wait while you do whatever. And it's like, she may actually have an emergency. You do know her cousin is in the hospital. You do know your ex-husband's brother is in the hospital. It could be something involving Michael. And then she goes on and says, I have to go talk to my husband. But for all you knew, it could have been something really important in an emergency. I don't know why you just pull in the sass and the tood.
Because she can. Because she's petty.
Right. And you know what? If I was Brooklyn...
Ooh,
not if I was Brooklyn. If that was me, a girl would have gotten two walk ups to the side of her head. And
there's nothing you like better, or nothing that's smarter than being petty with the person who's going to interview you for a job in a few minutes.
Right?
I think that's wisdom.
Not that you knew that it was for Brooklyn's... It was a position under Brooklyn.
But Brooklyn had said that Maxie and I are doing interviews, and you walked in there to get an interview, so now you would be doing an interview with Brooklyn and Maxie. So if you want to vex your interviewer, right? By all means, that is a great way to get a job. I think it's a tactic I'll adopt.
I'm also interested to see that it's like, because this kind of still falls into the theories that Lulu will get hired in deception. It's just like, how will that work as being her assistant? Like, I'm wondering if it's going to be like, Brooklyn is just purposely going to kind of make your life miserable just because she can, or if it's going to be just, either Lulu trying to make her life difficult, or if they'll actually probably finally get down to the crux of the matters and fix the issues.
I don't think Brooklyn is that kind of petty anymore, especially since she's... I don't remember how that storyline played out. That might be one of those drop storylines. But as she was going to take over Deception, right? We might want to add that to our drop storyline list.
I'm fine. Sorry. It's just a thought popped into my head.
Okay. And I'll keep talking. No, go ahead.
It also falls in line with predictions. It falls in line with Brooklyn and Lulu now working together. And I don't think...
But if it falls in line with predictions, do you want to hold it for now? Are you going to remember? Do you want to write it down? Or you want to just say it?
No, I'll just say it. Because it's... Okay. So, it's possible... It's entirely possible that Dr. Navarro will call Brooklyn directly on herself. Entirely possible. But sometimes, they call the offices because it's... So, because Lulu would be Brooklyn's assistant, I feel some information might accidentally slip. I don't know what, or Lulu will get curious and start investigating, and we'll find out that Brooklyn was pregnant before.
Well, the story is going to come out. You're absolutely right.
It's going to come out. The question is how.
And Lulu is going to be the one to hear it first and then spill the beans.
I don't know. I don't know if she'll spill the beans, but I do question that she'll confront Brooklyn about it.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
Probably during February sweeps.
Probably.
So then, going back to who else is in line to talk to Tracy, Drew and Martin and the cops show up to get the kids, and Tracy ends up getting arrested because she's like, no, I'm not giving them to you.
But also, I love she's like, I can't. And he's like, I love it, Drew. Are you failing to comply with, a judge-signed order? She's like, I can't give them to you because I don't know where they are. Because it's not like Tracy's keeping track of them 24 hours a day.
No, but I don't even know what I think.
I just find that hilarious. I just find that hilarious. It's like, I can't. And just like, are you failing? It's like, I can't give them to you if I don't know where they are. It's just that simple. It's like.
And once again, and I feel they're probably where they're supposed to be, either with Nina or whatever, because once again, people are inserting themselves in things they didn't have no business inserting themselves in. I don't know how Martin ended up over there. Willow is your client. I'm not sure who's footing the bill, but I think it's Nina. How is this man taking direction from Drew? I don't understand it. It's making my head spin, and it's making me hot. I like it.
No.
I don't get it.
No. Do we want to go on to now?
Who called for that?
Well, there's that, but also I was gonna thank Hero or Villain of the Week.
I was gonna go to that last, or very nearly last. But unless you have nothing for who called for that, or what'd you do that for?
It's not even a what did you do that for or who called for that. It was also just I think it ties back to like the Drew, Jordan, and Alexis conversations.
Okay.
Because I feel like we skipped over that fairly quickly, but it was one. I like how Alexis is just like, I'm not here to talk about you and Willow. I want to talk about Scout because I'm worried about Scout. and all this and all that. And I had a feeling she was gonna go back to the I want her to move in with me.
Right.
So I was not surprised when she brought that up. And then Drew being like, no. But also he's like, I do find it funny because, again, as you said, it's like sleeping with the family. I haven't done anything that the core mains haven't done. And, like, you know, they kicked me out. They didn't care about Scout. And it's like...
They kicked you out. They didn't kick Scout out. You took her.
Thank you. Thank you. And I do like how Alexis is just like... Sam wanted her to be with her brothers. So I like how she's always, like, whenever
bringing it back to
like, yeah, she's always encompassing... Rocco in that. She's not just like her brother. She means brothers because like they're siblings. As they said each other's like no matter what.
Yeah.
We're brothers and sister. Like,
absolutely.
No matter what. And I like that.
Just it's nonsense. It's
it really is.
Nonsense.
And I like how she's later
and Drew is so concerned, so I'm just gonna jump in.
Go ahead.
Drew is talking about I care for my daughter, I'm taking care of her, I'm responsible for her, I'm doing what she needs. But she ain't with you.
Nope.
You're in Port Charles and you're running all over town worrying about Willow and her business.
Right? It's like, and again, it's like, you're, as Alexa said, it's like, you have her staying in a hotel. She's not with her brothers. She's not with any of the kids. She's not with anyone who can understand what she's going through or supporting her. She's by herself. Like, you literally have her in a hotel room. It's like, a kid can only do so much in a hotel room by themselves.
Right.
Right.
Maybe she's at swimming lessons. We don't know.
Right. And I'm like, also, it's like, we know the school year started, but is she in school too? Or have you kept her out of school because, you know, you don't want to put her back in just yet because of her mom or because of what's going on with the campaign and all that? But
who can see? Right.
And the other thing that pisses me off is he's like, oh, I'm going to stay in Port Charles. And, you know, I'll fly to D.C. when I need to go to D.C. But it's like, no, how about you pick your backside up, go to D.C., leave your child at home with her grandmother and her brothers, and you can play a fairy tale job of being a congressman because nobody wants you here. Nobody.
What accent was that?
I don't know. Leave me alone. I'm vexed. Drew has me vexed. And then I like how Alexis goes to Curtis and is like, what should I do? I'm worried about Scout. And he's like, spend as much time with her as you possibly can for now. And she's like, excuse me, what do you mean for now? It's like, because Drew might be pulling up and popping off to DC and yada yada yada. And Alexis is like, hell to the no. I'm going to fight for her and I'm going to win. And I'm like, have that fight, Alexis. Because honestly, I'm going to stand by you because I don't want her around Drew. I don't want the manipulation she's going to be around. I don't want... Woo-wee, I'm hot.
I'm seeing you wanted to move on. You back in what had me hot.
Right. Okay. And then quickly going back to Jordan, because I also didn't finish that. My man talking about, oh, I offered him a promotion. I made him the head of the wellness division. I gave him a great salary raise and all of this and all that. I'm like, as I said, sir, it's not like he was a janitor and you offered him all of this, which is a promotion. No, you had him as interim CEO, which, keyword, interim. So he knew it was temporary. But as Jordan said, you had him believing, you led him on to believe that he was going to be the permanent CEO, which I agree. And you saying I offered this, that, and the next to him is a downgrade. It's not an upgrade. It's a demotion, not a promotion. I don't know what. I'm like, you must have your words confused, sir, because they don't mean the same thing. They mean the exact opposite. And I'm like, sir, I really don't understand. Because I'm like, even Michael's like, I don't understand. If you wanted someone capable and knowledgeable to run the company as you have offered it to Michael, then again, we know you offered it to Michael as a way to get him off your back for what happened with his wife, blackmail, right. Bribery. It's like, you would have made him the interim CEO from the first place. But we know you didn't because you only offered, because you trusted Curtis and you knew you were going to make Curtis the permanent CEO. You just backtracked that because of what happened with Michael's wife. And that's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Shady on a level. And this is why we don't make deals with the devil.
I don't know. I don't want to make it about it. But again, I'm just seeing Drew living in his privilege of being, a light-skinned male.
With money.
With money to boot. You know, and not that they're all doing that because we don't really see that across the board, but...
No.
Okay.
All right. Moving on.
Whatever. Moving on. Okay, so we were at...
Aside from what had me hot.
Yes.
And it was make it make sense, but who called for this?
What'd you do that for?
I don't have anybody for that aside from the.
I just have the one.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's true. Drew and his foolishness and calling Martin to get the police involved, and that was much. Who did call for that? Because it certainly wasn't Willow.
No, but it's a storyline I was engaged in, so I'm okay with that.
I do find it hilarious because technically I wouldn't consider what Tracy did assault on an officer.
That was Drew instigating again.
No, right? And also, it wasn't resisting arrest either. She's just like, just don't touch me.
Which an officer kind of has to do if he's arresting you. But.
Right, but also it's like, are you grabbing her or are you like, ma'am, and like kind of guiding her? There's a difference because if you're grabbing her up, I would kind of do the same thing. Even though I know I shouldn't, but I would compared to, ma'am, arm kind of thing. Because then I'd be like, okay, fair enough. But no, the way in which he was going about it was, oy.
Okay, so what I have in the "What'd you do that for?" column, Jocelyn Jacks.
Oh, fudge.
Little Miss Chicken Head Half Cocked. What in the world? Anna, despite telling you that you've just come with very flimsy information, bring Cyrus in for questioning. You're all up in the window minding his business. And Anna already told you she doesn't have anything to hold him on. So he's walking away. He has no idea you're involved. And you come flinging out of who knows where, talking about how are you just letting him go? Look, go sit your backside down. What are you talking in grown folk business?
I told you she got a hot head like her mother.
I know, but that was my what'd you do that for this week?
But see, here's the thing. That also
use a little common sense,
right? And I understand that, but also moves the storyline where we're like, Joss has the gun. She's gonna do something stupid.
Oh, absolutely.
Though in fairness,
absolutely. So I guess we do know what she did that for,
right?
For purposes of
but I will say this: if she does do what I think she's gonna do, I ain't mad at it.
Well, you know, Jason's gonna come along and rescue her because Jason will get wind of it somehow. So
yep.
Cool. Now we can get to where you wanted to go. Villain of the week.
We all know who it is. When he's manipulating behind, because I can't say the word I want to say. But with his manipulating behind, and his instigation, and his inserting himself in places he does not need to be inserting himself.
I'm sure I don't know who you mean.
Oh, really? Last time I checked, his name was Andrew, whatever his middle name is, Quartermain.
I see. Okay, well, I think we spoke about him enough, unless there's something you didn't say that you had.
Nope, because what I do want to say is not appropriate for this podcast.
All right, let's move quickly along.
And then I had my anti-hero, which was Tracy, because Tracy... and I say anti-hero because I'm like, you're not giving up the kids, but also she is looking out for Monica, which is on like the anti-hero aspect of it.
All right, fair enough. Do you have a hero of the week?
I don't.
Okay, well, that's great, because I do. And I'm very dismayed to say this. I don't want to say this, but really and truly, I have to give... No, it's too late.
No, I'll come back is what I meant.
Okay, I have to give my Hero of the Week award to Nina. Nina was the voice of common sense and rational thinking.
Twice in a row.
Color me stunned and surprised. My gassed is flabbered.
Actually, twice in a row.
My flabber is gassed.
I say twice in a row, but it's actually
she did a few times. She did it a few times this week.
It's like when she talked to Martin, being like, I don't think she would do that. When she was talking to Drew and Willow, saying the proxies, like, I don't think that's a good idea. Talking to Sunny. Talking to
Sunny again.
Yep.
Talking to Willow again. I don't think she had words with Carly. Oh, you know what we did not talk about, though? And so maybe I'll give a secondary hero of the week to Ava, but not really. But we did not talk about Nina running over to Ava. After having spoken to Willow and crying about, can't get into Willow's psyche. The only person she can hear is Drew, and Ava told her again, Nina, you want to break that spell? Tell her what you did. It's just that simple. That would be broken like that. And we all know that's true.
Right?
So,
but I do like
but
how,
notwithstanding, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I do like how they're in the gallery talking about it, and then as they're talking about it, Nina looks over her shoulder and looks back at Ava, because I was real ready for someone to walk in and hear that.
Absolutely, because there's nothing like soap opera talking your business in public.
Would have been hilarious if it was Jens who walked in. Another piece of information he can hold on to.
To do what with? Was Jens have to do anything with Nina?
Nothing. But man already got information that Miss Sasha would be pregnant.
But Sasha's useful to him because she's connected to Holly. Nina ain't connected to nobody he has a problem with.
We don't know what Gems be scheming, so he's gonna use whatever information he can get.
I think that's a stretch, my friend. I think that's a stretch.
I don't know.
So Nina is my hero of the week for being the voice of reason, which, like I said, I think most of us in North America would have been knocked over with a feather on that one.
Fair enough. For me, and now thinking about it, my hero of the week is Chase, because he snapped Willow out of her stupidity.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, we also didn't talk about, and I don't know, there might be a little bit of stories I don't care about. But Carly, Willow, and Sunny did have a very reasonable conversation.
Yes, at the end
about Michael's care going forward.
And I was a little worried because I also do like how she tells Tracy, it's like, Tracy, we need the kids because there's the treatment that we can get him so he can have no scars and everything, but we need the kids.
Tracy?
Yeah, Carly went over to Tracy's and told her about it. Oh. And it's like, don't you want Michael? What if it was Ned and yada yada, and it still didn't work?
Right. Yeah.
But anyway.
So you went far back.
Yes, I know. Sorry. But when she was at the hospital talking, I completely forgot about this. This had me hot that Carly and Sunny both came in hot when Willow called them over. And it's like, Willow hadn't even said anything yet. And y'all being like, Willow, we need to see Michael.
I don't know that they were quite as strong as that. But yes, they were a little bit
They were heated.
They were a little heated. Absolutely. But I don't know that one could blame them given what had happened.
I don't think so either. But, you know.
She called you there. Listen to what she says before you go on the attack.
Exactly. That's more what that was.
Right. So I did appreciate the exchange that they had. It was very level-headed. I really appreciated that Carly said, what I think should happen is, but fully ready. I'm willing to hear Willow's opinion. She didn't kind of force it on Willow. She said, this is what I know about.
It's like,
here's the information. Right. You can follow up on it and check it out to get more details.
Right. And I do like how Portia comes in. She's like, so we got him a spot at John Hopkins. Carly's like, I think I have a better solution. And I like how she said, I think, not that I do. Because even I was like, you're going to mention it? But with Jack, it's like, I can't guarantee anything. So when Sunny pulls her to the side and is like, why didn't you tell me about this? And she's like, because I wanted to make sure we could actually do it before saying anything. Because as Jack said, it's a long shot. Right. I can't guarantee anything.
Absolutely.
So I really like how she held back, and when she said, we have a spot for him, it's all good. But I like how Portia's like, I don't know anything about this. I've never heard anything about this. And it's like, I can't say anything. And Willow's like, I don't know. And it's like, but you've seen the results. Look at Ava. You would never know she was burned. And it's like, I don't know the story. And Portia's like, I don't know this treatment, so I can't recommend it. Which is a fair statement, but Carly came back and said, I can provide you with all the information. You can vet it. Right, which is then where I'm like, Portia, where's your iPad? Let this woman send you the information.
Oh, but that was fine. But Sunny surprised me. It's like, ask Michael.
Me too. Because then I was like...
And actually, it's something I'm not entirely sure I'm following. I kind of understand where Carly's coming from. Mm-hmm. But what's different between Ava and Michael is Ava's face was burned very badly.
Fair.
Michael's face
is fine.
It's,
as we discovered, neck and below.
So I'm not sure I understood why she was so adamant.
I think it's just because, regardless of where the burns, I think regardless of where the burns are, that's still like trauma, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's just everything, and just like you don't want them to feel a ways about it.
For sure, and obviously it's to facilitate Chad Duell's exit, which is fine. So whether he's close by, whether he's in Germany,
right?
I don't know. That makes a difference. But just because if they decide to recast, well, his face was fine.
Which I was gonna say leads to my prediction. If they send him off to freaking Germany,
right?
Which was, I think, either way, if they do send him to John Hopkins or they send him to Germany, Chad Duell is gone. And if they mention Michael, is going to be wherever he's at.
Right.
However, again, if they send him to Johns Hopkins, as they've mentioned, he's close by. They can visit him, which would lead to, as they did with Lulu, you have a body in the bed. You might see hair color. You don't see nothing else.
Right.
Whereas if he's in Germany, we don't see him. We hear about it. We hear about whoever's with him. They're getting the updates, yada, yada, yada. Michael's getting the treatment. And then, as I said, while he's getting his treatment of the burns, he might also pull some, I want some plastic surgery or whatever happens.
Listen,
and while they somehow mess up, I give him a whole new freaking face.
Listen, this is what I was just thinking. Because, I still don't think Helena's dead.
I don't think so either.
Helena lost track of Jason somehow, so now she's gonna pop up and she's gonna mess with Michael to get to Jason.
Also, what is this woman's fascination with Jason? I don't.
Well, because he's a super killer or whatever, thanks to Sunny.
Either way,
she just
it's
wants
like
the
this.
Skills.
Either way,
But then
I also agree. This woman's not dead. I'm like, y'all need to do. I swear to God, y'all need to do. Oh my goodness. Oh, what's. If y'all need to put her brain into a computer, I don't care.
Oh, stop!
No. The point.
We're not doing a red dwarf or whatever other craziness.
No, my point is, I'm like, y'all need to keep the character of Helena alive somehow. I don't care. This woman is not dead.
Bread.
I was barely around for her time, but for the stuff that I was involved with, I was at the edge of my seat. I love Helena so freaking much.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, you just put a brain in a computer.
I don't know how else to explain it, because it's like, I don't know how else I'm going to keep this woman alive.
Cheese on bread. Okay.
You gonna put her head in a jar and you're just like, that's how she's going to keep her alive?
Wasn't that where they had, like, Faison's brain or something?
I don't know. Okay.
I think Kawaki Sapella, Laura's husband, Kevin, was studying Faison's brain at one point.
Ooh.
But anyway.
Okay.
Anyways, let's move on very quickly. Predictions. Did we cover that?
I've given my predictions for Michael. I've given my predictions for Brooklyn. I kind of technically gave a prediction for Joss. I think she's gonna shoot Cyrus. She might miss, but I think she's gonna shoot Cyrus. I don't. My one prediction is that Willow's going to find out about what Drew did with the kids and having Tracy arrested, and she's gonna be pissed.
That's not gonna go.
She's gonna be pissed.
Right?
I'm here for it.
That is not gonna go.
I'm here for it. Aside from that, me no know.
Okay. For myself, I have no predictions.
Oh, that is a lie. There was one more.
Okay, go ahead.
I think Monica will die of heartbreak.
Okay, well, that leads into other news, and I don't know that. Wow, sorry, you've caught me quite off guard with that statement. I think that's a little much, but in where I wanted to go with other news for those who are not aware, I'm sad to, I don't know if announce is the right word, but I'm sad to share the information that Leslie Charleston died this past Sunday, January 12th.
For those of you who do not know
Leslie
who that
Charleston plays Monica Quartermain.
Yes. So if they never recast Monica, if they do not kill off Monica, I feel that at some point we'll hear disembodied voices. But that's about it. But I do think they will effectively, and I say effectively, but I do think they're going to have Monica pass.
Yes, and I
especially with the fact that Tracy did bring up her health has dwindled fairly recently with everything going on with Michael and just all of it. I think she is going to pass.
Absolutely, I think 100%. I don't think they're going to recast Monica at this point. And I because I was like, why did I talk about Monica so much? I mean, I hadn't yet heard the news of Ms. Charleston's passing. So she died at the age of 79, and I think exactly that because she'd been unwell for quite some time. I don't know the details of how or why she died, but obviously we've seen Monica on the scene very sporadically throughout the past year and a half. She would come on for one episode and then go off to
that, or we hear
wherever.
her voice through the phone.
Exactly. So clearly, at least to me, Frank Valentini and the rest of the crew and casting were already aware that Monica had been unwell. I think I read somewhere that it was complications of an illness. So I think they knew she'd been unwell, and I think they knew she was coming to her last days. And so this is why they started writing the script the way they did, mentioning her so often to kind of prepare us for her being gone. So I think that's very sad news, because she's actually the longest running cast member on General Hospital. She began playing Monica in 1977, and apparently she was quite the wretch, causing all kind of trouble and difficulties for people.
Oh, so not just Tracy.
No, not just Tracy. And in fact, Tracy and Monica had a lot of run-ins back in the day when they're young, like around Lulu's age or what have you. They're causing all kind of mayhem. So that's unfortunate.
It is.
But I think it'll be really interesting, because I didn't watch back then. That was like 70s, early 80s. I don't know her whole story, so I think it'll be very interesting when they do the memorial or the funeral service to see those scenes and learn a little bit more about who Monica was. One thing I did find interesting in the article that I was reading in People is Monica's relationship with Alan was often volatile. So she was married to Alan Quartermain, who gave her the house, which is a running gag over many years. And it says here that in the 80s, she often slapped Alan in the face. We'd do real slaps. Charleston told People in 2023 for the show's 60th anniversary, Stuart Damon, the actor that played Alan Quartermain, was always afraid I'd take his eye out.
Oh.
I would fake a slap in dress rehearsal, but when we went to tape, all that went out the window. So I found that very interesting.
This kind of falls back in predictions, but it's just because of Monica. But I'm curious if in her will she left the house to somebody else, or if she did leave it to Tracy.
Give it back to Tracy?
Right.
Wouldn't that be something? Well, if she gave it back to Tracy, everybody's out.
Right.
Everybody.
So I'm kind of like, please tell me you left it to Olivia or Jason.
She probably left it to Jason.
But yeah. Yep. So. But also this does mean that the ELQ shares will have to be redivided again. But I don't think they'll deal with that anytime soon.
I don't know that Monica has ELQ shares. Because she's married. She married in. She's not actual blood.
Oh. If Alan left her the house, I wouldn't be surprised if he left her the shares.
His proxy or whatever. I'm not sure.
But
I think they would have gone to Jason. I think that's how Jason got his. I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something about leaving the house and Tracy and so on. But in any case. Oh, I do remember. What's Yuri going to be up to? Because Yuri was guarding Monica's door, which is part of why Carly couldn't get in.
Right.
And Yuri, when we see him, he's always very solicitous of Miss Monica or taking care of her. So
who knows?
Maybe we'll see him a little more, because I like Yuri.
I like him too. I do like him when he has a beard on his face, because every time I see him lacking a beard, it throws me off.
For sure.
But yeah.
There we go.
So this is a so long to you, Monica.
Absolutely. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for some wonderful viewing.
Right.
Absolutely.
And join your fellow cast members in the in the General Hospital after party in the afterlife.
Right. So we have one last segment before we wrap up. Well, at least I was scribbling while we were talking. Dropped storylines. So here's some things. Okay, we already talked about Scotty. I still want to know where he is, but I'm not going to bring that up again, although I just did. Other drop storylines. What's happening with Molly and TJ?
That's a good question. We'll figure that out later.
Right? We have to come back to who dropped off the gun that got Alexis acquitted. Right?
At this point, I don't think it matters.
Maybe not, but it may tie into the whole bomb in Sonny's chimney.
Oh!
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
But
okay.
And Brooklyn taking over Deception and giving it back to Maxie. What happened with that?
Right.
Because she had told Tracy that was her plan, right?
Yeah, they had because freaking Lucy brought it up to Tracy or whatever, and they had a whole discussion about it. And then Brooklyn and Tracy talked about it, and they're like, "We will," because as we know, Brooklyn didn't want to be part of Deception. She wanted to focus on her music. She wanted to manage music, but she decided, you know what? I will stay for a certain period of time. I will learn the ropes from you, and then I will give it to you, but you can't pass it on or something for a certain period of time. This is also kind of technically another drop storyline. What's going on with Blaze? I know she's doing her tour, but it's like I want to.
Yeah, but I don't know that that's really a drop storyline.
No,
but I hear what you're saying.
Because that wasn't resolved with her mom either. And I'm like, come back. Deal with Christina. I need you to kind of...
But that being said, wasn't the intention for Blaze to be gone for a year? Or
6 months.
It was 6 months?
It was like 3 to 6 months or something like that.
Okay, well, it hasn't been 6 months if we go calendar-wise.
When was Christina supposed to have her baby?
August.
Fair enough. Okay. So...
Yeah. It might be nice to see Blaze. I mean, I enjoyed the actress. I don't know that I loved the storyline. I didn't find there was anything really interesting in that storyline.
So about February-ish.
Right.
February, March. Hopefully they bring that back.
Maybe she'll come back in time for the nurses' ball. Because it's all about singing and dancing and performing.
And Brooklyn's her manager, so, you know.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah. All
right, then. Anything else?
No.
All right, then. That has been today's episode of Soaps and Sass.
Yes, it has.
It has been a very interesting, but also a very long episode. But yeah. This is Baby Sass.
And Mama Sass signing off. Have a great week. We will be back with all the news and all the sass.
Yep. Toodles.
Bye-bye.